Judge, the identities of nearly 100 victims were inadvertently revealed in the latest release. The Justice Department says it's going to be fixing that, fixing the redactions, and then re-uploading those documents.
Good Day Chicago at 8 starts now.
And right now at 8 o'clock, a new arrest in the deadly shooting of a bar owner in Kankakee County. We are live with reaction from her loved one.
People in Northwest Indiana say they are fed up with those skyrocketing utility bills. Now they're taking that message straight to NIPSCO.
Plus, that partial shutdown of the government is over, but there is another one on the near horizon. We will tell you the sticking points in this next funding fight.
Chicago's trying to climb out of the longest winter freeze in years. Caitlin Cody here. She's going to track when we're going to see some relief. Hey, Caitlin.
Good morning, you two. I love the navy, by the way.
Thank you. Unplanned.
Unplanned.
Match great.
But it worked.
You know,
That's right.
We're going to have more blue sky, speaking of navy, later on this afternoon. This morning, it is quite cloudy, and we actually have some snow out there, especially as we're around in the lake. I wanted to show you the big picture, satellite and radar, where you can see how cloudy it is over Chicagoland, and that touch of blue from LaPorte County and Berrien County. Most of us dry currently, but checking in on the temperature. Right now, you're stepping out the door to a wide range of temperatures in Chicagoland. Currently, single digits for some, 7 in DeKalb, 6 at Woodstock, 18 at the lakefront, 23 in Gary, so warmer. Southeast, Midway, 23, 24 in Kankakee. Here's your 3-day planner because I want to show you the changes that are brewing. We have the chance for some snow in the forecast over the next couple of days. We're going to have the clouds increasing again tonight, and then tomorrow we could be taking a crack at 32 degrees. And then upper 30s expected as we end the week, which is fantastic. We'll start to thaw out before colder temperatures this weekend. A full check of your forecast is ahead.
A man accused of killing a rural bar owner in Illinois is now in custody.
That suspect is being held in Indiana while he awaits extradition to Illinois. So we are checking back in with Say Kwan, who is live out in Momence with the very latest. Say.
Good morning. We are just outside of the Line Bar in Momence, as you mentioned, pretty much right along the Illinois-Indiana state lines. But this is where investigators have been collecting evidence for the last couple of days, which led them to the man who authorities say was behind an execution-style murder. Now, the man they're talking about is 47-year-old Julius Burks Jr. He was arrested in Hammond, Indiana, not too far from Gary Airport. Investigators say he is responsible for the shooting death of 30-year-old Courtney Drysdale of Momence. This all started on Monday when Drysdale got to work to open up her bar at around 11 a.m. Shortly after, Burks was seen on surveillance video walking into the bar and demanding money at the register. Officials say even though Drysdale did what she was told, Burks shot her twice, then ran away.
No one else was inside the bar at the time of the incident. Before leaving, the suspect attempted to remove what he believed to be a digital recording device from the wall. However, investigators have recovered video evidence.
By Tuesday afternoon, about 26 hours after the deadly shooting, the Kankakee County Sheriff's Office said Burks had been arrested. Courtney Drysdale was a mother of a young daughter and was deeply loved by her customers. Fox Chicago spoke to one of her friends who says she'll be remembered for the bright light she brought into everyone's lives.
Her smile lit up the whole place, you know, everyone felt good around her. It feels like almost like a little bit of a weight lifted off my shoulder that, you know, she's going to get some type of justice, her family's going to get justice, that someone's going to get what they deserve for taking a beautiful soul like hers.
The Kankakee County Sheriff's Office says they were able to locate Burks thanks to the help of several law enforcement agencies, including the FBI and the U.S. Marshal Service. They also thanked the public for providing authorities with information and tips. Guys?
Say, I know that you said that we're awaiting extradition here. Beyond that, what are the next steps here in this case?
Yeah, as we all know, obviously an investigation like this is going to be ongoing here for a little bit. We also know the Line Bar posted on Instagram yesterday saying that they will be closed until further notice. As far as Burks goes, obviously he's being held in Indiana right now, awaiting that extradition hearing to Illinois, which could happen sometime this week.
Okay.
All right, Say, thank you for that update. Appreciate it. It is 8:04 and a developing story to get to now. A 12-year-old boy is in the hospital after he was shot.
Gabriela Primus has details on that overnight. Gabby?
Yeah, let's talk about this story, Natalie. Anthony, police say they've arrested 2 people in connection with this shooting. It happened just before 7 p.m. Tuesday near the intersection of West Iowa Street and North Leamington Avenue. Police say the boy was inside a vehicle when he was grazed in the head with a bullet. He was taken to the hospital where he's expected to recover. And new this morning, Broadview's mayor says she wants to close the village's ice processing facility. Mayor Katrina Thompson says she envisions repurposing it into a museum that tells a story of those, she says, who disappeared behind the facility's walls. This is just a proposal. Thompson has not announced a timeline or any specific measure. And today, the Indiana Utility Regulatory Commission will hold a hearing on NIPSCO's billing practices. It's something we've talked a lot about. People tell us that their bills have spiked in the last couple of months and they're struggling to pay them. One viewer in Northwest Indiana sent us their bill. It was almost $900. Now, customers are also planning to protest outside NIPSCO headquarters today in Maryville. Anthony.
Okay, thanks for the updates there, Gabby. Appreciate it. Right now, Chicago police, they are searching for 3 men that were involved in a deadly shooting outside of White Castle on the west side. Officers say the shooters, who they're looking for, walked up to an SUV and opened fire. 3 men were inside that vehicle. 2 of them were killed. The 3rd was hurt. And police believe that man who's hospitalized will make a full recovery as that investigation and the search continue.
Chicago city leaders have revised a proposed SNAP curfew to give police more flexibility before handing out citations during those events where teens gather downtown. This would allow Chicago police to give a 30-minute warning to individuals to disperse instead of the previously proposed 12 hours. Before issuing any citations, officers would have to ask the person's age and why they're out. Several aldermen voiced support for the measure, saying it aims to prevent youth violence. But teenagers say they are being unfairly targeted.
Young people need more investments for our mental health and safety instead of putting all focus into how to take young people off the streets.
I agree with the teens. We need to really give them instructions and support and recreational and entertainment alternatives. Where I disagree with them is that they have the right as an underage minor without an adult to take over the streets of downtown.
Alders did not vote on the new proposal. They are expected to bring it back up at the next Public Safety Committee meeting. Downers
Grove has banned ICE from staging their immigration operations on city-owned property. Council members passed the ordinance at a meeting last night. Now, this measure allows police to respond to people's calls about possible civil rights violations. Other area communities have passed similar measures. And right now, White House border czar Tom Homan, he's in Minneapolis. He's been there for about the last week after replacing Greg Bovino as the head of ICE operations in the city. He's addressing the media. And let's listen in.
For immigration purposes, we're not asking anyone to be an immigration officer. We are not asking any state or local official to do immigration enforcement activity. They are not. By merely notifying us before they release them, they don't hold them 1 minute past they normally would. Given this increase in unprecedented collaboration, and as a result of the need for less law enforcement officers to do this work in a safer environment, I have announced effective immediately, we will draw down 700 people effective today. 700 law enforcement personnel. We have also fully integrated CBP personnel into the ICRO team structure under one unified chain of command. Not 2 chains of command, there'd be 1 chain of command here. Any large enforcement operation I've ever been involved with, there's 1 chain of command, and that's where we're moving forward. During my press conference last week, I announced that moving forward, ICE will be conducting targeted immigration enforcement operations, like ICE has traditionally done for decades, based on reasonable suspicion to question and detain. ICE will conduct these operations and transnational criminal organization investigations with a focus on national security and public safety. I want to be clear. Just because you prioritize public safety threats don't mean we forget about everybody else. We will continue to enforce the immigration laws in this country. To help execute this, we have developed and implemented a multi-agency surge task force with an operational framework that clarifies lines of effort, integrated enforcement, investigative and special response efforts. A unified joint operations center has been established to manage all operations and ensure efforts align with priorities of the mission. This reorganization also enables ICE to leverage joint intelligence capabilities to effectively target threats, as well as to reduce the overall personnel footprint and enhance public safety and confidence in the agency's capabilities and presence here. I have also ensured that officials from legal internal affairs offices remain on the ground as long as this operation continues. During our efforts to identify and implement improvements of how operations are planned, conducted, and managed, we identified a gap in regard to the use of body-worn cameras. And this was actually raised by the workforce when I started walking around talking to people here. Some officers and agents had them, some didn't. That inconsistency was unacceptable, so we moved immediately to prioritize full body cam deployment in the city. I discussed this with Secretary Noem a couple of days ago, and she made the decision to deploy them. The plan is to deploy them nationwide, but it's a priority for the city right now. There's actually $20 million in the spending bill to further fund the deployment of body cameras. The President is supportive of this decision because we have nothing to hide. We want to be fully transparent in what we do. The American people seek and deserve professional and trustworthy law enforcement, and I and the President expect that any misconduct will not be tolerated and will be swiftly addressed. The integration, structuring, and resources we have implemented will help ensure accountability and that targeted enforcement operations have a focus on national security threats and public safety threats, and they are conducted effectively, safely, and appropriately. Again, this is smarter enforcement, not less.
All right, that's Tom Homan. Borders are addressing the media in Minneapolis. Seems like they're coordinating a little bit better between state and federal. He says they're going to be drawing down federal agents there by 700 agents, and those on the ground will be wearing body cams. He's reporting a little more cooperation between certain counties and federal immigration enforcement. So,
yeah, and he seems satisfied thus far since he arrived there with operations.
We'll continue with more of his remarks on our digital if you want to tune into that. But for now, we want to talk about this partial government shutdown. It's ended, actually.
But the funding fight is not yet over, and I think that Mr. Homan kind of touched on that,
right,
with talking about $20 million kind of held up in spending here. Brian, explain where we are right now.
Well, President Trump did sign a one-page of that new bill into law on Tuesday. Now, for most of the federal government, this funding agreement will run through September. But we could be facing another partial shutdown because the Department of Homeland Security is only funded through next week. Speaker of the House Mike Johnson says some of the things Democrats are demanding, like body-worn cameras for ICE agents, are already moving forward, which Tom Homan just updated you on. But Democrats will press for more, including preventing agents from wearing face masks.
If Republicans refuse to make the changes the American people are demanding, they are forcing a Republican shutdown of DHS.
I think we can get to an agreement. I certainly hope that's true. And if they have any intention of trying to keep these other agencies of government closed, it will be a fool's errand.
Lawmakers will now have until February the 13th to negotiate before the Department of Homeland Security runs out of money. Back over to you guys.
Okay, thank you, Brian. And we are going to go to break quickly, but Caitlin Cody is going to have a full weather update for us after this short break. As we take a quick break here, let's check in with our 7-day forecast. We'll be right back.
What are you girls doing?
We're doing all the heating, plumbing, and electric around here.
All right, I know you girls know stuff, but let's leave it to our trusted local experts. Let's call Four Seasons.
It's about time you figured it out.
Whether it's heating, cooling, plumbing, electric, air duct cleaning, or generators, you can always trust Four Seasons.
For all the right reasons, call 866-4 Seasons.
Good morning. So glad you're with us on this frosty Wednesday, but we're halfway through the week. We want to get to Gabriella Priebus now for a look at some of the top stories we're following. Hi, Gabby.
Hey, Natalie. Thanks. Chicago police are searching for the person who shot and killed a woman at the University of Illinois Chicago parking garage. Police say 34-year-old John Quinice Kimbrough was visiting UI Health for an appointment when she was shot. It happened around 2:30 Monday at the Wood Street garage. Police are still investigating what led up to the shooting, but they suggest it may have been related to a domestic dispute. No word yet on any suspects. A grand jury has indicted Adam Beckerink on murder charges. He was extradited from Michigan last month to face murder charges in the 2024 death of his wife, Caitlin Tracy. Prosecutors say he threw her down the stairs at their South Loop high-rise, but he denies that. He's back in court on February 19th. The Kankakee County Sheriff's Office has arrested a man accused of killing the owner of a bar in Momence. Julius Burks Jr. was arrested in Hammond, Indiana on Tuesday. Investigators say he shot 30-year-old Courtney Drysdale inside the Line Bar. Burks is being held in Indiana while awaiting an extradition to Illinois. Anthony.
Okay, thank you very much, Gabriella. It is 8:17 as we take a look over Grant Park. And Caitlin, how are we doing outside? How's temperatures today?
Depends on where you're at. Depends on where you're at. Temperatures, they are widely ranging from the single digits north of the city to the mid-20s south of the city right now. It's quite cloudy outside. Usually we're like, look, it's so beautiful. Unfortunately, we are starting off with quite a bit of cloud cover, and you might see some light flurry activity next to the lake. Slim chance, but don't be surprised if you do. Temperatures, as mentioned, it depends on where you are. Stepping out the door, 8 degrees in Rockford, 6 in Woodstock, 7 in DeKalb, 8 in Aurora. So you can see our northwestern county is quite chilly. But just south of the city, it's 24 degrees in Kankakee, 23 at Midway, 23 in Gary, 19 at the lakefront. So these temperatures, we are on the up and up over the next couple of days before temperatures get cold again this weekend. Let's take a look at our futurecast and time it out. So again, this morning we do have cold temperatures to mild temperatures. As we get into the afternoon, 4:15, temperatures are ranging in the mid to upper 20s for most of us. So you can see our northwestern areas finally warming up with more sunshine. So we are going to have a slow clearing trend today, especially northwest of the city. 7 p.m. this evening, temperatures dropping down to the upper teens for most. And then overnight tonight, we're looking at the teens as our low. Into early tomorrow, we have the chance for some snowfall. You can see this is really the first half of the day, 2:45, still seeing some snow throughout the area, although minimal, if any, accumulation is expected. Temperatures will be hovering in the low 30s. Hopefully we can hit that 32 on your Thursday. And then we have more snow possible. This is going to be more so early Friday. You can see 7 to 9 a.m. with that mix of precipitation. Temperatures in the upper 20s by 9 a.m. Friday, and highs are going to be in the mid to upper 30s. So that's our warm day of the week. Next week, even warmer. I'll show you that in your 7-day forecast ahead.
Oh, that's music to my ears. Thank you, Caitlin. Appreciate it. 8:19. Stick around later with Caitlin for Chicago Now. We got a jam-packed show. We're going to be speaking with a local baker who turned a single post on Nextdoor to a 6-figure business.
I can't wait to hear about that.
Yes, we will unpack how that happened. Plus, Chicago gets its first ever LGBTQ plus affairs director. We're talking to Antonio King about his role and his plans, what he brings to that role. Also, restaurants stepping up their music game, and we can thank a Chicago company for this. This is really cool. We're going to talk to the folks over at Au Cheval about their process for curating playlists in a very cool way for some of the city's top spots. That's all coming up starting at 10 a.m. on Chicago Now.
A Plainfield family is warning parents this is such an important story after their 9-year-old was burned by a popular toy.
Yeah, we want to warn you. Some of the images here are a little difficult to look at, but cautionary tale here. Look at how 9-year-old Caleb Chabola's face looked right after he did this. He put a squishy sensory toy, it's called a Nido, inside the microwave after hearing about it from a friend. This is a larger TikTok trend, apparently. Only took a couple seconds for that toy to explode in the microwave. It sent the 4th grader to a burn unit, and he is not the only one who has tried this. It is a viral trend online right now.
Definitely a lot better because some of the early pictures were definitely scary. We were worried about his eye, of course, which he was cleared by ophthalmology, which is great.
The material inside is so thick that it holds heat longer because it's thick, and it sticks, and so it stays on the skin longer. And that causes even more problems than, say, a similar temperature water that might slide right off.
Just think before you act, and think before when you're like putting something in the microwave, because you can only put food, and it's more like powerful than the oven and other stuff.
Loyola Medicine says this is now the 4th Nido-related burn case that they have treated just this year. We reached out to TikTok and the makers of Nido about this. We have not heard back.
Live music, a huge part of the cultural experience living in Chicago, and it's a big contributor to the city's economy. A new study says it generates more than $2 billion for businesses and $184 million in tax revenue. But despite this, many of these independent venues that we all love are struggling to survive, with only 1 in 4 turning a profit. Billy Hemkamp from the Chicago Independent Venue League joined our Paris Schutz on the Chicago Report to explain why.
Venues are really expensive to run. That's one of the major points. And really, one thing that this study makes clear is that independent venues aren't just for fun. They're really more like a national infrastructure for culture, for jobs, for tourism, but without the protections and incentives that a lot of those other sectors receive.
Our venues are not the only ones struggling. This is an extension of a nationwide study conducted by the National Independent Venue Association. People came together Tuesday to celebrate the 60th anniversary of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s historic Chicago Freedom Movement. The event was held at Kenwood United Church of Christ in Bronzeville. On February 3rd of 1966, Dr. King addressed a packed group of people at that church that later helped launch the Chicago Freedom Movement.
All right, this is the centennial year for the celebration of Black History Month, and the Field Museum is going to be marking this milestone.
After all, it started right here, and Dawn Hasbrook shows us performances rooted in legacy, style, and soul.
Music, dance, poetry, shoe fashion, taking the stage in style. The celebration called Soul to Soul, celebrating 100 years of excellence.
We are celebrating the 100-year anniversary of Black History Month, which of course kicked off right here in Chicago, like all great things.
This is a Field Museum Black History Month performance, part of an entire month of events. Each group representing classic and contemporary Chicago traditions.
Ayodele Drum and Dance, some of the dancing that they'll actually be doing was inspired in West Africa. So a lot of the footwork that we do here in Chicago actually has roots in West Africa. And so we wanted to make that connection to the city.
House, tap, stepping, African diasporic dance, and praise dance on display. Young scholars also honored with their elders, bridging the past, present, and future together, one step at a time. Visitors also did arts and crafts and viewed the museum's collection of footwear from the Africa collections and fashion.
We just wanted to bring the community together to celebrate this momentous occasion, celebrate our scholars in the city, and just uplift, connect the community, and have a great time.
The museum hoping everyone walks out inspired this Black History Month.
A local family says they spent months wasting precious time that could have been used for treatment.
In just a little bit, the parents of Amelia Myers are going to be joining us here in studio to talk about her legacy and how it could save hundreds of lives. Caitlin?
Starting off cloudy, temperatures today in the 20s, but the 30s right around the corner. Starting tomorrow, we could be hitting freezing. Now, we do have the chance for some snowfall tomorrow as well as on Friday. I'll time that out for you, and we'll take a look at that 7-day forecast, including when the 40s may return ahead.
High drama here.
It is now 8:31. Thanks for joining us here on Good Day Chicago. We're following an investigation into a shooting that sent a 12-year-old to the hospital.
Plus, city leaders are changing a proposed SNAP curfew. Again, this latest iteration will tell you what is included in it in an effort to stop those what are called teen takeovers downtown.
And we're speaking with a local family that's turning their tragedy into change that could help hundreds of children.
Neighbors on the far northwest side are pushing back on a housing plan as well for the old Mars Candy plant.
Yeah, they're going to meet tonight. They're going to try to consider next steps here because there's a few proposals. Not everybody agrees with them. Roseanne is live in the Galewood neighborhood this morning with more details. Roseanne?
Well, you can't help but imagine what it must have been like to grow up in this neighborhood and trick or treat here, because everybody says they gave you gobs of candy, and they love to talk about that. But the topic of conversation today is definitely this redevelopment plan, and that's going to be the topic of a community meeting that they are holding tonight. Folks on the far northwest side know this plant well. It operated almost a century, making Mars and other candy bars before closing last year. Well, now the developer, McCaffrey Interests, has proposed 500 residential units on the 20-acre site, including senior living, townhomes, and apartments. Some neighbors are worried about everything from overcrowded schools to traffic, water, and sewer problems.
You know, it's going to be a lot of condos. So that's the condos and, like you said, the parking and just the traffic. It's just going to change the dynamic of living in a, neighborhood where there's a lot of homes. So,
right. So you're a little concerned.
Yeah.
About
yeah.
the character.
Yeah.
You enjoy. Now, neighbors tell me they would rather see investment in the community, like maybe a youth complex, a sports center, maybe a library, things that the people who already live here can enjoy. The community meeting is tonight at 6 p.m. It's at Redeemer Church, which is located at Oak Park and North Avenues. In Galewood, Roseanne Tejas, Fox Chicago.
And Roseanne, you mentioned this isn't the only redevelopment that could be underway there. It sounds like some of the residents have kind of had enough. They're at capacity.
That's a good way to put it, Anthony. On our way into this area, we saw where Sears used to stand. That's a housing development. The old U.S. Bank was redeveloped. Neighbors say they have fought against other redevelopments. So they are, feeling like they're housing heavy already in this area.
All right. Thank you for that update, Roseanne. Appreciate it. Other news, we have some big developments to report this morning on the immigration crackdown going on in Minnesota.
Gabriela Primus has that and some of the other top stories. Gabby?
Yeah, Natalie, Anthony, we brought it to you live just moments ago. White House border czar Tom Homan says the Department of Homeland Security is removing 700 immigration officers from Minneapolis. Homan's announcement follows 2 deadly shootings involving federal officers that sparked nationwide protests, as we know. He says state and local officials have agreed to cooperate by turning over arrested immigrants. The Kankakee County Sheriff's Office has arrested a man accused of killing the owner of a bar in Momence. Julius Burks Jr. was arrested in Hammond, Indiana on Tuesday. Investigators say he shot 30-year-old Courtney Drysdale inside the Line Bar. Burks is being held in Indiana while awaiting an extradition to Illinois. Today, the Indiana Utility Regulatory Commission will hold a hearing on NIPSCO's billing practices. It's something we've talked about a lot here. People tell us that they have seen their bills spike in the last couple of months and they're struggling to even pay them. One viewer in Northwest Indiana sent us their bill. It was almost $900. Now, customers are also planning to protest outside NIPSCO's headquarters today in Maryville. Anthony.
All right, thank you very much, Gabriella. Right now, Chicago police, they are searching for 3 men they believe were involved in a deadly shooting right outside of White Castle on the west side of the city. Officers say these shooters walked up to an SUV and opened fire with 3 men inside that vehicle, 2 of whom were killed. The third was hurt. Police do believe that third man will recover.
Chicago city leaders have revised a proposed SNAP curfew to give police more flexibility before handing out citations. This would allow Chicago police to give a 30-minute warning to disperse instead of the previously proposed 12 hours. And before issuing any citations, officers would have to ask the person's age and why they're out. Several aldermen voiced support for that measure, saying it aims to prevent youth violence. But teenagers also spoke at that forum, and they say they're being unfairly targeted.
Young people need more investments for our mental health and safety instead of putting all focus into how to take young people off the streets.
I agree with the teens. We need to really give them instructions and support and recreational and entertainment alternatives. Where I disagree with them is that they have the right as an underage minor without an adult to take over the streets of downtown.
Now, alders did not end up voting on the proposal, but they are expected to bring it back up at the next Public Safety Committee meeting. All right, let's send it back over to Caitlin, but first we'll take a live look at the planetarium, and boy, an icy look there. This always reminds me of like Antarctica. It does.
With the observation towers?
The observation tower, yes.
I could see that. Here's the good news. Temperatures over the next few days expected to be in the 30s. Today, most of us are going to be in the 20s. Now, talking about the temperature this morning, my goodness, northwestern locations, you are chilly. I'll show you our current temperature map in just a moment. A few of us, though, from Chicago Point Southeast are in the mid-20s. Talking about our weather headlines, number 1, a few lake effect snow showers. You might see a few flurries early today. Most of us will be staying dry. As mentioned, highs in the 20s and 30s. This weekend, back down to the 20s, but next week, the 40s are possible. Above freezing on Friday, maybe even tomorrow hitting that freezing mark. Let's talk about, though, our current conditions. Right now, 21 degrees. You saw from that live shot, it's quite cloudy out there in Chicago. 23 at Midway, 20 in Joliet. Temperatures are in the single digits from Aurora at 8 to 9 in DeKalb, 10 at Woodstock. Northwest Indiana, Temperatures for you are in the upper teens to mid-20s. Currently, it's 23 degrees in Gary. Highs today, right around 28 with that northwest breeze around 5 miles per hour. Tonight, dropping down to about 16. And then tomorrow, the first half of the day, we could see some snow out there. 32 degrees expected to be our high, so hopefully we hit that freezing mark. That wind coming in out of the south-southwest up to 20 miles per hour at times. But our 7-day forecast, best day of the week, Friday. Even though it's going to be cloudy, temperatures will be balmy. Around 38 degrees expected to be our high. We have that chance for some snow, as mentioned, Thursday night into early Friday for that second round. And then this weekend back down to 27 degrees Saturday, Sunday around 34. And next week, we're talking about the 40s, which would feel even better. Back to you.
Look at that, 46. Love it. Caitlin, thank you so much. And a lot of us are going to be hosting Super Bowl parties on Sunday. And we want to make sure you get out of the kitchen so you can actually watch the game. Babs from Babs Boards is going to join us here during our 9 o'clock hour with some tips for easy entertaining.
Welcome back to Good Day Chicago. Boy, it looks like kind of a dreary day out there, but we're glad you're with us here. It is now 8:41, and Gabriella Primus is looking at your top stories this morning. Gabby?
Natalie, let's start with this. Chicago police are searching for the person who shot and killed a woman at the University of Illinois Chicago parking garage. Police say 34-year-old Jonquinice Kimbrough was visiting UI Health for an appointment when she was shot. It happened around 2:30 Monday at the Wood Street garage. Police are still investigating what led up to the shooting, but they suggest it may have been related to a domestic dispute. No word yet on any suspects. A grand jury has indicted Adam Benkerink on murder charges. He was extradited from Michigan last month to face murder charges in the 2024 death of his wife, Caitlin Tracy. Prosecutors say he threw her down the stairs at their South Loop high-rise. He's due back in court on February 19th. Neighbors on the city's far northwest side are holding a meeting tonight to push back on redevelopment plans for the old Mars Candy Factory. The plant in Galewood shut down in 2024 after 95 years. McCaffrey interests want to build 500 residential units on the site. Developers held a series of community meetings in December, but some people say they don't feel their concerns are being heard. Tonight's meeting is at Redemere Church. It starts at 6 p.m.
Gabby, thank you. Back in 2023, Illinois became the first state in the nation to screen newborns for a rare genetic condition, and that legislation is all thanks to a local family. Amelia Myers was diagnosed in May of 2022 with metachromatic leukodystrophy, and her parents can correct me if I'm wrong on the specifics there, but they are a family that I've grown extremely close to over the years, and Amelia sadly passed away a couple of weeks ago at just 12 years old. But her parents are here to talk about how she is changing lives even after her passing. I want to introduce you to Crystal and Aaron Myers. Thank you guys for being here. Tell me a little bit about this newborn screening for parents that aren't familiar with it.
So in every state, babies are tested differently based on government deems as important or approves for funding. And so unfortunately, some states have less testing for babies. It's not universal yet. And so we are recommending that there becomes a recommended universal newborn screening panel, that it is the same in every state, because right now it is different. And unfortunately, our daughter did pass away 2 weeks ago because her disease was not added to the newborn screening for the state of Illinois. But she did amazing things before she lost her ability to speak. We went to DC and we met our representatives and legislators, and they listened, and she was able to add her disease to the newborn screening.
That's incredible because of your work and because of Amelia's work. And Aaron, what kind of a difference does this make? I mean, if Amelia were diagnosed earlier, how could that have changed her life?
Oh, that would have been huge. At the time, if she would have been tested at birth, she would have been qualified for a trial for gene therapy, which is pretty much the only therapy that could have saved her life. Obviously now in the United States it is approved. It's approved therapy, which is huge. It gives people a chance. It gives children a chance that unfortunately my child didn't have. It's a difference between a child now to be able to have a life versus playing for a funeral. I know it sounds harsh, but that's the reality of it.
Because there's really a short window where they can receive that gene therapy, and once they reach a certain age, and unfortunately Amelia did, they no longer qualify. So Crystal, now are all babies in the state of Illinois screened for this, or where does this stand right now?
So unfortunately, I have gone to the CDC and we met with the directors. We went 2 years ago, but unfortunately they still have not implemented it yet in the newborn screening testing. So they are hoping to have a pilot program by the end of this year.
So that is the next step then for you. And then is there anything that we can do to help, or maybe there's a parent at home that feels like their child should be added to the list? What do they do?
So when a baby is born, unfortunately you don't really have a choice to add that screening. You can go and find an individual lab and get
but it's pricey though, right?
It can be a couple $100s, but it would still save, I mean, we're in the hundreds of thousands of dollars in medical expenses. So it would still save an extensive amount of money for families.
Yeah. What do you guys think if Amelia could speak to lawmakers today, she would say?
Oh, I think Amelia, as feisty as she is, she would have no problem telling the lawmakers, let's get this thing on the newborn screening nationwide to save numerous and millions of children. Amelia was just a beautiful, feisty little girl. She would have no problem. Like I said, she was able to meet Governor Pritzker, and she had no problem with the highlight or the spotlight of those issues.
I love her so much. Oh my goodness, I remember her doing her little boxing gloves, saying I'm a fighter, when we spoke via Zoom. Crystal, for parents who are unfamiliar with this condition, I want to end with this. Explain what some of the symptoms are that parents might notice right away.
Some of the first symptoms of these terminal brain diseases are bad behavior. So Amelia started drawing on the walls, and we thought maybe she'll be an artist. So we brought her art supplies. It could be, being bad in school, falling, toe walking is another neurological symptom that needs to be addressed immediately.
All right, thank you both so much for all of your hard work. And Amelia is always going to be with us. Her legacy is going to live on. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Caitlin?
Amelia, she was so beautiful. Looking at those pictures. All right, talking about the forecast. Well, we've got cloudy skies today to start, but we're going to have gradual clearing expected. Temperatures are going to be in the 20s today, but over the next couple of days, the 30s return. So let's start off talking about satellite radar. You might see a few flurries if you're next to the lake to start off the day today. Most of us, though, are going to stay dry. Behind me, you can see satellite radar generally quiet for us in Chicagoland, as mentioned, but you could see a flurry or two, especially if you are, as mentioned, lakeside. Temperatures are going to be in the single digits northwest of the city, 9 in DeKalb, 10 at Woodstock, 21 at the lakefront. Temperatures south of the city pushing to near mid-20 range. Kankakee, you're right now at 23 degrees as well as in Gary. These temperatures, as mentioned, are going to be pushing to the upper 20s this afternoon. And then tonight, temperatures dropping back down to the teens. Again, gradual clearing. And then as we work our way into tomorrow, we have the potential for snow to return, especially the first half of the day. So about 9 a.m. until about 3 p.m., scattered snow showers, limited, if any, accumulation, though, expected. Temperatures tomorrow afternoon pushing to about freezing. And then on Friday, that's when we're going to have our mild day with mid to upper 30s expected. Here's your futurecast for today. Again, we do have those clouds in place, especially Chicago south. Notice we do have those clearing skies happening, especially west and northwest of the city this afternoon. Heading into this evening, most of us get in on those partly cloudy to mostly clear skies. And then tomorrow, starting off quiet, 7, 8, 9 o'clock. Then the chance for snow moves in, as mentioned, until about mid-afternoon. Then we have a break again until we work our way into Friday morning. Then we have the chance for precipitation, scattered snow expected Friday to start off your day, but temperatures will be fantastic, pushing into the mid and upper 30s. We'll take a look at your full 7-day forecast, including when the 40s are back ahead. First, though, checking in with Jake to see how he's doing. Last time we saw you, you were drinking some wine.
Exactly right, Caitlin. Cody, listen, I don't mean to scare you, but we are just 10 days away from Valentine's Day. But don't worry, if you're looking for the perfect Valentine's Day experience, I got just the thing for you. It involves a little winemaking experience. We're live in the Beverly neighborhood at the Wild Blossom Meadery and Winery. We'll tell you all about it and how you can still grab a ticket when Good Day Chicago returns.
forget the classic dinner and drinks for Valentine's Day.
Wait,
this
what?
year. Everybody,
Hold
forget
on.
it. Forget it, Nat.
Okay, fine.
Because we have an idea that's just as romantic and still includes the vino.
All righty.
Yeah.
Jake is live at Wild Blossom Meadery, as in MEAD, and Winery, where you can make your own blend and you can bottle it. Jake?
That's exactly right, guys. Rather than just go to a restaurant on Valentine's Day and pay $100 for a bottle of wine and you don't even know if you're going to like it, why not make a wine with your significant other that you know you're going to love it because you make it yourself? That's what they're doing out here at Wild Blossom Meadery and Winery. You know they're doing a great job because they got medals all over the place. We're going to talk with Greg Fisher, who is the owner of the place. He's been helped out by our man Aries, who's been helping us out all morning long. Guys, I don't want to stand in the way of what you're doing, but tell us a little bit about what's happening right now. This is just a small step of what people can experience on Valentine's Day.
Yeah, we're making a 6-gallon vat of wine, which is going to make us about
6 gallons,
which makes us about 25, 30 bottles. And you know, winemaking is like gourmet cooking, but you don't have to eat it all at once. And you know, when you make something with somebody, you like put yourself into it, and years to come, maybe 10 years from now, you can still enjoy that bottle of wine.
I want to zero in on something you were saying. Dee, do you want to sort of pop in there and kind of see some of the process that he's making? You mentioned that whenever you come out here and you're making the wine, you're walking out with how much wine exactly?
Well, the wine does have to ferment, but you're going to make a 6-gallon vat, which is going to make you about 25, 30 bottles.
So this experience that people can come out here for Valentine's Day, you're walking out, not walking out that night because it has to ferment, but you're coming out of here not just with one bottle, with about 25 to 30 bottles?
That's right.
That feels like a great deal, and you're getting dinner for two?
Yes, you get dinner for two, and it keeps. And this is not the first time. You know, this will be your first vintage. People we've been doing this for almost 30 years now.
Wow.
And we have people still coming back every year to make their Valentine's Day wine.
Well, Greg, clearly you're doing something right. You're Chicago's first winery. You're Illinois' first meadery. I want to bring you over here, Greg, because you were saying that in addition to actually making the wine, which you guys are doing right now, part of the process is the tasting of it, getting it just right, and then putting it in the bottle, right?
Yeah, and it's something that you do with
What is
your...
this? What are we looking at right now?
This is actually grapes. This is actually grapes that we're putting in the wine. So we have a wine package. To make good wine, you need really good grapes. So we actually import grapes in from California and from, you know, France and
people
Italy.
Choose, oh, I want a white wine or I want a red wine. Can you kind of really specify what it is you want to make?
You can totally customize it to the way you want. You can make it more oaky. You can make it more sweet. You can
now,
make
are
it
you
more...
guys on hand to answer questions about how to do something like that?
Yeah, we show you exactly how to do it step by step. And once you do it once, you're going to get hooked.
I'm so excited. Really quick, I want to bring you over here because I want to showcase what we're doing over here in the bottling process. We have just about 90 seconds.
Yeah, so once the wine is done, comes time to bottle. So what we're going to do is, before you bottle it, you always have to taste it. So we're going to use a thing called a wine thief.
Okay.
And then you move over here. I'm going to move right around here so I get a little closer. And this steals the wine out.
All right, so you're getting it in the wine thief, which is the perfect name for it. We got about 30 seconds.
So this is a chocolate port.
Okay.
And a little bit in there.
I love that. All right, let's give it a little shot.
A little strong.
Oh, I like it though.
Nice,
and I taste the chocolate. Now, if I say, Greg, that's it. That's exactly what I want. Can you show me the bottling process?
Yeah. So we're gonna use a bottling wand here. And
as you're doing this, let people know you guys still have tickets available for the Valentine's Day.
Yeah, we do have. We're selling out fast, so they shouldn't wait too long.
And the prices for what you get for dinner for two for 25 to 30 bottles of wine, it's a very affordable price. Right, it's a little over $100.
Yeah, it's about $150 per person, and then you get dinner, and then you purchase your ingredients, and you're going to make some really great wine. The wine is actually going to pay for your dinner.
Honestly, it's pretty incredible. And where can people find more information on this?
If they go to our website, wildblossommeadery.com, that is our website.
I love it. And then
they can sign right
walk away with multiple bottles of wine, guys. Greg, you got a lot packed into that live shot in just a couple of minutes. I appreciate you. We're going to be back out here with Greg. We are live in the Beverly neighborhood Wild Blossom Meadery and Winery. The perfect Valentine's Day experience, or all year long, really.
Yeah.
In the next hour, guys, take a look at those buckets over there. That's exactly what you think it is. Those are grapes. And yeah, there's going to be some grape stomping coming up here in the next hour of Good Day Chicago, so don't go anywhere.
He's a brave man.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
I can't wait to see the stompage.
I was looking at the menu. They have non-alcoholic options, an incredible menu.
There you go.
Something for everybody. Something for everybody.
Indeed for you.
That's
okay.
right.
We are coming up on 9 a.m. on your Wednesday morning. We have more Good Day Chicago up next, so stay with us.